Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RingReady Live, the home of the owner handler, brought to you by Showsite Magazine. I'm Dan Sayers with Showsite, here once again with Lee Whittier, the dog show mentor. Lee, how are you today?
I'm doing well. We have sunshiny day here.
It looks beautiful where you are. It's a little overcast here on the East Coast, but no snow, so that's a good thing. How did you like that new intro music? It looks like our producer switched it up on us this
I
week.
do. I liked it.
That was a little funky. Thank you, Alex, our producer. So, Lee, before we get started today, let me just ask you, I haven't seen you in a week, and I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us. We missed you last week. We had a little technical issues, but we are glad to be back with you this week. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Ginger. Welcome back. Lee, how have you been? How are things with Dog Show Mentor? And I'm curious, how is your mastery program shaping up for next year?
Oh, I am inundated with applications, and that's exciting. And I have some lovely teams who are going to be joining us. I'm starting to make choices. So if you haven't gotten your application in, uh, please do so. Maybe Alex could put it in the chat. And if you have questions about details that you haven't seen me cover on my Facebook Live, feel free to private message me and I can give you the short answer. Okay.
Terrific. Thank you, Lee. Lee, we are going to take a break from decking the halls this week to have a Hallmark moment and talk about breed hallmarks. Did you see what I did there? So I want to invite all of you, and I see you're already doing it. You know the drill. Let us know who you are, where you're from. Let us know your breed. And today, let us know what are your breed's hallmarks. So Lee and I thought that hallmarks would be just a wonderful December topic to talk about. So, Lee, why don't I just jump right in here? In last month's Ring Ready in Showsite Magazine, you had a really wonderful article. All of your articles are wonderful. This one was especially insightful because you were discussing hallmarks, but you were discussing it in the context of movement specifically, but I thought you gave such wonderful examples of what breed hallmarks are and why they're so important for breed type.
So, so Dan and everybody, dogs are not static, right? They they move. That is part, and it's part of how they were developed, and the history behind the breed, right? So that characteristic movement of the bulldog is has to do with how they would approach the bull and hold the bull, and how they're built. They're low slung, that low center of gravity,
Mm.
that strength in front. Um, so the Rottweiler is a trotter, right? They should be able to trot all day, um, herding and being a general farm dog, and strong enough to pull that cart and still have uh, strength, right? If you're pulling a cart, that exemplifies that in your movement you want a powerful movement. The Doberman and the Boxer, for example, and I go over this in my article. The Doberman and the Boxer, they're both square breeds, but they move differently. Well, why do they move differently? Because they had different functions. So even though they're both working breeds, they're both square breeds, they have different functions. And that function, for example, in the Boxer, is described using the word elasticity or elastic gait. So with that breed, that's a hallmark, right? That differentiates it from the Doberman. And I'd like to know what's a hallmark of your breed? Long, low, and level is a hallmark of a lot of the low slung breeds, but what makes that, what differentiates them? So what are the 3 to 5 things that make the Sussex Spaniel different? Well, one of the things that makes the Sussex Spaniel different is it has a golden liver coat. And
Mm.
none of the other long, low, and level breeds have that golden liver. And once you see that, you will never forget it. And puce should be severely penalized. You do not want them looking like a field spaniel. Okay. Does
And
that give you a little hint about where I was going with that article?
yes, and I want to encourage everyone, go to showsitemagazine.com, go to our issues, look for the November issue, and in that issue, you will find Lee's article in depth where she mentions the breeds that she just spoke of. There are some breeds in that article that really was enlightening for me, Lee. You reference that many breeds are black and tan, or they come in black and tan.
Right.
However, just because they're black and tan doesn't mean they are the same breed, and that of all the breeds that are black and tan or may be seen in black and tan, only one of them has a thumbprint.
Right.
And I'm wondering if any of our viewers know which breed that is.
Right.
But that's a hallmark of that one breed, that one
Right.
black and tan
And I
breed.
see that Sharon says that the melting expression
Mm,
of the Cavalier, it absolutely, that is the hallmark of that breed. Hi, Julie. Hi, Kaylee. Also, Sharon says moderate coat, so as not to take away from the overall structure picture. And the Pekingese also says that the coat should not obscure the outline,
mm.
right? Does anyone think about that when they see those Pekingese, right?
I would say that having seen Pekingese in the homes of some of our more noted breeders, when you see them move in their home environment, you really realize how athletic that breed can be, and that yeah, maybe outside of the show ring, sometimes you can really see how that dog is made. But yeah, the word moderate is interesting because I don't know that moderate is a hallmark in most breeds, but certainly moderate is something that is looked for in well, in many breeds, if
In
not
many breeds,
most. Yeah.
and for many times the same reason is that it's very functional for whatever that dog is bred to do.
Let's talk about that, Lee. As a judge, if you're in the ring, just pick a breed in your mind. They're coming in the ring, and at when do hallmarks start to come in your process? Or maybe that's very breed specific because you mentioned the Rottweiler is a trotter. That is a breed hallmark. So you've obviously got to see the dogs gating. But
Right.
talk about that a little bit. Where do hallmarks
Sure.
fit into your process?
Yeah, so it starts right away. I mean, you
Mm,
immediately start with the silhouette and seeing if that silhouette matches the breed. And so, for example, the Rottweiler is should balance and proportion is of primary importance. It states that in the standard in that movement section. Balance and proportion are of primary importance. So if you have a dog that comes in the ring and they have an enormous head and a big heavy front and what I call a bird butt, built
mm,
like an Old English or a Pekingese, wider in the front than in the rear, then it's wrong, right? It should exude balance. Everything should be in balance with that breed so that it can do its function. So right away you start noticing immediately which ones have balance and proportion, which ones have a top line that they can use as a drivetrain, which ones have really we want clear markings. Now, I've not always bred clear markings. I've not always put up clear markings, but it is a hallmark of the breed that black and mahogany or black and tan. So and so as a judge, I have to consider that when I'm standing in the middle of the ring, and I have to give it a level of importance based on how those dogs compare to each other, right? So I'm comparing them to
mm.
the standard, but also comparing which one comes most closely and has the most virtues according to the breed standard.
I like your use of the word virtues, and I would assume that a dog that has all of the hallmarks on of its breed would certainly have those virtues in spades. If a Rottweiler ticked all of the boxes, so to speak, that would be a typical Rottweiler in the estimation of the judge. Real quickly, Callie mentions that the pug has a thumbprint, which it does, but it is not a black and tan breed. Um,
Right.
Thank you, Callie, for mentioning that. Obviously, black and tan pugs would be quite a problem. But Callie, let us know what are the hallmarks in the pug. There are several, and I'd love to hear those described if you wouldn't mind. Ray has joined us
Absolutely.
from
And
Tampa.
I wanted to mention here that we do have the link to the full article in the chat.
Wonderful.
And we also have the link to the application for Dog Show Mastery in the chat.
Thank you, Lee, for that. Thank you, Alex, for putting that together for everyone to be able to get to. You can find those links, as Lee said, in the chat. Ray has joined us from Tampa. He has Basenjis. Ray, let us know. What are the hallmarks of the Basenji? There are several unique hallmarks, if you will. And Lee, if I may, hallmarks is not a term that is used in every breed standard for every breed that in fact has hallmarks. For instance, in my breed, the Irish Water Spaniel, the phrase that's used is distinguishing characteristics. Those are just another pair of words for hallmark. But so some of us have to do a little digging through our standards, don't we, to really
Right. I mean, and we also call it the key components of breed type.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who want more on this, by all means, buy Rick Beauchamp's book, and think about your breed in terms of the key components of breed type. Some standards, like the giant schnauzer, talks about the beard and eyebrows being hallmark of the breed. The Rhodesian Ridgeback says that the hallmark of the breed is the ridge, but others are trickier, right? They're tricky. So one of the things I do in Dog Show Mentor is I have a spotlight on your breed where I work with the members to define what the hallmarks are in their own breed and to really suss that out, particularly in standards where it's not specifically mentioned.
I love it when you give examples because my head just starts to think of all of the dogs of those breeds that I've known and some that I see. And it's just very helpful then to start thinking in terms of hallmarks. Sandy answered about the Basenji. She says they have a gazelle-like grace, a short back, they are square, they have a wrinkled expression, and they have curly tails that are set high. They also have a hooded ear, which is, they are not the only breed with that, but they are one of a few that do. And
right. So it's important for people to realize that the things that their breed has may be a hallmark, but it's those 3 to 5 components that, when put together, create your breed. Right? It's you have several breeds with hooded ears, but combined with the other 3 to 5 characteristics, that's why it's a specific breed unto itself.
Yes, you mentioned Rick Beauchamp and his book, Solving the Mysteries of Breed Type. That is a book that you and I spoke about a month or two ago when we were talking about our libraries. I want to encourage everyone to get your hands on a copy of his book. And you are so right. He mentions the 3 or 5 different specific components that put together, as you just said, create the breed. They've really defined the breed, and they are all hallmarks of the breed.
And in most of those cases, you can put a characteristic movement.
Without a doubt.
Right.
And that's something that's really important, isn't it? A lot of exhibitors, we until we get some experience with our breed and showing our breed in the ring, we may not understand that. We just think, oh, I've got to run fast, and then I've got to run faster, and I don't really understand what is meant by move your dog in a breed specific way. A judge who knows is looking for that hallmark of the movement, right, Lee?
Right. I mean, look at the Havanese. In order
Mm,
for us to really see how they move differently in the front than really any other breed, um, he needs to be in a loose lead,
mhm.
right? So we have loose lead breeds. Havanese is one of them. And there's a reason why it's a loose lead breed. The Cairn should be shown on a loose lead, right?
Yeah.
So understand that there's a reason why dogs are moved in a certain way by people in the know. The people who really know
Yeah.
understand I'm going to walk with my ex terrier, right? I'm not running. Not running.
I love that expression, the people in the know. And I want to encourage everyone that there's no shame in admitting you don't
Yes.
know. There's I don't know lots of things. Lee, I'm sure there are things that you still don't know. Um,
Yeah, a lot.
I love being wrong and I love not knowing things because it just reminds me there's still so much more to learn. And every dog show that we attend, there's an expert just sitting next to you. If there's a breed that appeals to you, sit down, watch it. You'd be really surprised that that lady or that gentleman to your left or right is a real expert and it can really help you to understand what it is you're watching in their ring and what you can take back and find useful in your career as a dog.
Dan, I have to tell you, I have a homing device on
Mm,
experts, on breed experts. When I'm studying a breed, I could go to anywhere in the country and I could go up to the ring and stand by the ring, and within 10 seconds, I know which person I need to talk to. It's sort of it's freaky. Yeah, it's freaky. I can just spot them a mile away.
I'm not sure that I would have the same gift, but I certainly can spot the folks that I think I might not be able to gain any
Oh
knowledge.
yeah.
And usually they're staring at their phone, which listen, we all do that. We're all checking our phones, but when you've got a class, when you've got a ring full of magnificent specials in any breed, that's the time to put your phone away and watch the judge sort through those animals. And if it's a breed where you know the hallmarks, let's see if that judge is how is that judge using the hallmarks in his or her
Right.
decision making.
I mean, are what emphasis are you putting on which parts? So that
Ah,
can be really tough. I mean, the boxer with the best head may not have the characteristic movement. And so you have to decide if you have a ring full of dogs that can't move and and one has a decent head but excellent movement. Well, you might choose that one, but you also might not, and you'd still be right. It's just
mhm,
the emphasis. So that the boxer standard tells you, as a breeder as well as the judge, to first look at the overall dog and assess that, and then the head, um, and then movement. But it also tells you that temperament is essential.
mm,
So in the boxer, I would have to say that if I had a dog in my ring that was difficult to examine and looked fearful, that I would have to I wouldn't want to award that dog points if I didn't have to, which I don't have to.
mm,
So that would be tough for me. Temperament is it's supposed to be a family dog, and temperament is really essential and in any breed, but the standard tells you in the boxer how important it is. The standard tells you in the Rottweiler
mm,
that they can be aloof. They're not given to indiscriminate friendships.
mm.
Wow, that's a big one. So it tells you they don't have to stand there and wag their tail and look at the judge like it's their best friend. If they want to stand there like they're the Apollo of dogs, like the Great Dane, well then
Hmm.
that should be equally acceptable to the breeder or the judge. So yeah, there's a lot of pieces and parts to this Hallmark thing, and we're just starting to tease it out now.
Hallmarks for me, they keep it exciting. You know, 197 breeds plus the FSS and miscellaneous breeds, and every single one of them has its share of hallmarks and distinguishing characteristics. And if you love dogs as Lee and I do, we will never know it all, but we will continually be learning and excited about exploring all of the different breeds, including the Saluki. Lena is saying that the Saluki, the whole appearance should give an impression of grace, great speed and strength, smooth flowing and effortless at a trot. The Sighthounds are magnificent because of all the breeds. Every single one of them in their own unique way combines grace and elegance with speed and even power.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right,
remarkable, but not one is like the other. A
right.
Saluki may be similar to a Slugi or an Afghan hound, but they are in no way the same, right? Each has its own 3 to 5 hallmarks.
They sure do. And it's interesting to when you think about the function of each of them and how different. I mean, the Beathen Hound is totally different than the Saluki and different than the Pharaoh, and yet a number of them have a very similar function, and that hunting function and how they hunt and the terrain that they hunted on. Um, that's what makes or breaks your particular dog within your breed. And yeah, Megan says that um, Rick's book is a great book, and it is. And Kaylee, I just want to say thank you for the pug head, gait, square, toy, curled tail, and let's remember the trace.
Yes.
And sometimes it's evident, and sometimes it's not.
That was something that I became aware of at some point in my dog showing experience, that a trace is something that is a hallmark of the pug. It's not something that you necessarily would even see, but once you know that it ought to be there, you're looking for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Jeannie says the Irish Wolfhound, obviously of great size and a commanding appearance, but please do not confuse great size with being obese or fat. I think that may go with several breeds. Big is not always better in many of our breeds, and a great size in no way should be an excuse for a dog that is out of condition.
So we're almost out of time, but I want to address Julie Elliott's question, which is a really insightful question. Without the hallmarks of the breed, can you tell which breed it is?
Mm,
And that is one of those trick questions, right? Because as a silhouette, you don't necessarily need to see color, but you can still tell what breed it is. I mean, you could tell if it's black, you still know within reason what breed it is. Um, so I'm and yet it's the the components within that silhouette that make it that breed and that make it identifiable. So Julie, I would say yes or no. Yes. Can you tell which breed a dog is without the hallmarks? Well, no. That the answer would be no, you can't, because even if you just do the black silhouette, you're going to know what it is, but that black silhouette is based on the hallmarks of the breed in most cases.
and one of those hallmarks would be movement. And as you say in your article, that silhouette, you need to see that in motion as well. And I think the last line in your article Lee, which I cannot quote, but it is really, really powerful. I would encourage everyone, please go to showsitemagazine.com, find Lee's article in the November issue, read it from beginning to end. It's she touches on everything that we've been talking about today, but I really want to encourage you to read it and then reread it and read it again until you really start to understand and believe in what Lee is talking about, that the hallmarks define your breed. Our dogs are feeling, living, breathing beings,
Right.
and they are all unique to their own breed. And this is what we always want to remember. And I find that if I think of the hallmarks in my own breed, I stay focused. I never go too far afield because those hallmarks, they keep me realizing this, if I lose this, then I just have another, in my case, a curly brown dog, of which
Right.
there are several. And the hallmarks are so important. A pug or a Basenji or an Irish Wolfhound without the breed hallmarks, they're just little dog with curly tails, or a somewhat bigger square dog with curly tails, or a giant dog with just a lot of mass. And
That's right.
those three breeds are none of those things. They're anything but ordinary or common. They have hallmarks that distinguish them from
and
every.
and and thank you for the kind comment. And I just want to let everybody know that Showsite Magazine has um, articles and information about breed history and other breed characteristics. So if you go to Showsite, really explore that site because it has a lot of information about not just your breed, but maybe another breed that you're studying for some reason.
Without a doubt, we have at Showsite a breed magazine for every breed in all 7 groups, as well as in the miscellaneous class and the FSS breeds. You mentioned the Abethan Hound a moment ago, obviously a breed in the Hound group, but also in the November issue, Lee, are articles on the Podengo. So
Mm.
there is the Pequeno, which we have all seen at shows for the past several years. But did you know that there are 2 other sizes? There is the Medio and the Grande. They are different. They are historically used differently. And after you get done reading Lee's article in RingReady, head on over to those articles
Okay.
and the others. Boy, are you going to learn a lot. And I think that, if, for example, if a Beathan is your breed, you're going to learn a lot about your own breed by learning about similar breeds. When you realize what distinguishes a somewhat related breed, it makes the hallmarks of your own breed that much more significant. Because although the differences may be subtle, they are really defining characteristics for each of those breeds. And in the case of the Podengos and the Abethan Hound, similar uses, but not exactly the same, because one was came about on an island, the other on the mainland, and there's some differences there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
fascinating
Absolutely.
reading in the breed magazines. And yes, once again, all of Lee's articles are so informative to us as owner handlers. I also think that the pros and the judges would do well to read your work as well, if you don't mind me saying so.
Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we?
We'll find out. But let's close this week. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Lee, one more reminder about Mastery. There's just a few more weeks left to 2021. Mastery is
Yeah.
going to start pretty soon. So, a
Yeah,
little
and people need to know that I'm not finished with the applications, but if they want to apply, that they should do so pretty much immediately, like today, this week.
yeah.
Um, so I'm excited about it. And one of the things I wanted to mention before we close, Dan, is that this 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 exciting year-long program, this intensive year-long program, is based on the last 5 years of my work. So this is the culmination of what I've been
Mm,
doing, how I've watched people learn, how I've learned from my people how best to present material and ideas, working closely with them. It's a lot of one on one work, a lot of contact with you as the mastery member. And so keep in mind that this program is based on over 5 years of my work, watching people learn how to win more in the ring, understand about winning, losing, and being heartful with their dogs and being
mm.
present with their dogs. So yeah, it's 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 epic, if I do say so. So
It's
please do, if you're interested in really making a commitment to your dog and to the sport, this is the program for you.
So if you're interested, now's the time. You've got this week to get your application into Lee. Think about where you are with your dog today and imagine where you could be a year from today. Just imagine the things that you can accomplish with a dog show mentor, with Lee as your coach throughout the year. It's
Yeah.
an extraordinary opportunity for 10 lucky folks. So I want to encourage you to get that application in. I'm sure you will find it transformative. And a year from now, you won't even recognize yourself because you will be a master. You will be a master. So thank you all. Lee, thank you so much, as always, for today's show. I want to thank all of you for participating in our conversation about breed hallmarks. Lori, Sandy, Elizabeth, Jeannie, Ray, everyone who joined us this week, thank you so much. If you are planning to tune in with us next week, we will be talking about what else? The AKC National Championship. That is beginning next week.
And
And
I'll be on site there, Dan.
wonderful. I will be not quite en route, but I will be there on Friday. If you're going to be there, join us next week for our show where we're going to talk about the AKC National Championship, the importance that it holds within the sport, within the AKC, and for all of you as owner handlers and breeder owner handlers. So, best of luck to everyone. Tune in next week. Lee, thank you again. Thank you, Alex, our producer. And until we get together again, remember, have fun with your dogs.
See you in the winner's circle.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you.